So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Boris Johnson advised to ditch public focus on the Red Wall amid no-show at Doncaster summit. So essentially, he promised a load of Red Wall MPs he would turn up in Doncaster, but instead he emerged in Kyiv with President Zelensky. Again, if he abandons the Red Wall, his majority shot at that point. His majority is absolutely gone, and I don't know how much of a majority he could have if he loses these sorts of seats. It's not looking promising for him. So it was meant to be a much needed marriage counselling session between Johnson and the Northern MPs, several of whom indicated they had no confidence in him less than a fortnight ago. And let's not forget that the government, actually lost the seat in Wakefield as well in the Red Wall. Is not to be. There's always something curious about the Prime Minister's decision to accept an invitation to the Northern Research Group, because everyone has a research group. You got the European Research Group, the ERG, the Northern Research Group, the COVID Research Group. Everyone has a research group, which represents the causes of MPs keen on Johnson's maintaining his focus on the Red Wall rather than competing with the demands of the Southern Tories who aren't happy about the money flowing to the North. And let's not forget, these Northern Tories are in a position where a lot of them could lose their seats and they'll be off the gravy train, so they're not happy about that. It was odd that he should signal sympathy for one faction at this point in the electoral cycle. I don't think it's that odd. Odd that he should want to focus. Odd that he would want to come face to face with an audience containing so many critics. I mean, the best way to silence the critics is to turn up. And odd that it should come just at a point where concern about his stewardship of the campaign to retain traditional Tory heartlands is reaching unprecedented concern with the Tiverton by-election. And let's not forget, they also lost the Tiverton by-election as well. So they've lost a seat in the Red Wall and a seat in Tory heartlands. So the Tory heartlands are ones that they would always have under, former Prime Ministers May, Cameron, etc. But they lost that. One they've held for a long time now, and they've lost a few of those they've held for a long time. And they've lost the Red Wall one as well, one that Boris Johnson effectively got them. So they've lost one of their main seats, one of their heartlands, traditional vote, the traditional voters, and they're losing, the new voters, the new kind of breed of Tories. It's not looking promising for him, is it? Sky News understands the PM is being advised to ditch his public focus on the Red Wall by cabinet colleagues, because those cabinet colleagues will be mostly in safe seats. Johnson did accept the invitation, probably because it came from the head of the Northern Research Group, Jake Berry, one of his few actual long-standing friends in Parliament. So he's invited up here by his friend, but in the end he didn't even turn up. So his long-standing friend was eventually left with egg on his face because Johnson didn't turn up. Even despite promises from Downing Street conference organisers that morning that he would be on the train in Doncaster. They promised on the day he would be there that he was on the train, and then he turns up in Kyiv. And the reason why he's turned up in Kyiv is so he looks like he's prime ministerial, like he's getting on with the job, he's helping out the people that are fighting the Russians, etc. He's trying to make himself appear statesmanly, but who cares? I don't blame Zelensky for this stuff, because the day he needs the British weapon to continue the fight against the Russians. Don't blame him for any of this, but at the end of the day, Johnson's desperate photo ops and him, facing down a load of critics in the north of England is not what he wanted. Days of planning must have gone into today's trip to Kyiv by the PM, all while actively pretending he would go to Doncaster. One Tory MP at the Northern Research Group was utterly furious. This is the first test of outreach to his colleagues, and he failed it. And I think he thinks he's safe. I think Boris Johnson thinks he's safe because he survived that vote of no confidence, which the Tories pulled really prematurely. Another said Johnson had burned through the goodwill of 40 MPs, and again, we don't know how those 40 MPs voted in his no confidence vote, but if these people had any guts, they would call for a public one in Parliament. In the vacuum, Sunak made a well-regarded appearance at the dinner the night before. So did Tom Tug on his hat, confirmed his ambition to succeed Johnson. So what you have is two, Sunak not as much anymore, but Tom Tug on his hat, a leadership rival potentially, going to the north, going to Doncaster, and trying to endear himself to the Northern Tories. There is utter cynicism in private amongst some Tory MPs that Johnson has chosen a photo opportunity with Zelensky over a possible difficult confrontation with colleagues, because he doesn't like confrontation. He's happy to hide in a fridge. He's going to a country that's a war zone, effectively, in order to get a photo opportunity with their president, in order to make him look much better. Why? Because at the end of the day, he doesn't like facing his critics. He's a very timid man, Johnson is. And evidently he does not care about the Red Wall. So if you're in the Red Wall, if you vote Tory, stop it, because this man doesn't care. No Tory cares about the North, not really. Simply because, the north of England requires a lot of investment. The Tories hate investment. That's more socialism. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.